Today we're talking about so-called friends who befriend your friends behind your back so that they could build allies to justify their jealousy. I'm Cassandra Mack, founder of StrategiesForEmpoweredLiving.com and CassandраMackMinistries.com. For more information, you'll see the Linktree link in the video description box that'll take you to my books, merch, private one-to-one coaching, and the ministry website. So let's dive right in. So this video actually is being done by request. One of the members of the Cassandra Mack YouTube channel requested this video, and I'll call her Tara, not her real name, Tara. So we're going to call her Tara. So Tara is in a situation where one of her friends, or someone she thought was a friend, has been befriending her friends behind her back to build allies to justify the jealousy that she has for Tara. And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, but this happens a lot, especially in women friendship groups. This happens more than people care to admit. And I want to start by saying people are allowed to be friends with whoever they want to be friends with, right? And we don't own people. People are grown. They're able to make whatever choices they want to make. But it is still important, right, that you assess the people around you so that you know how to move. That is important. So yes, people absolutely have a right to make the choices that they make, but you also have that same right. And so when you see that a so-called friend is moving in a way that gives you reason to pause, because remember, no one can tell you what your standards and expectations are. And so if you have a certain standard for friendship, you have certain expectations, and you're starting to see that a friend is moving a little suspect, you have every right to pull away from that friendship. That is your right. And so in Tara's situation, she had a friend who she went to college with, and they're now in their early 40s. And the friend is jealous of her. And what happened is Tara is getting married, and the friend has been going around telling people that she doesn't believe that Tara is ready to get married. And she is calling Tara's friends who she doesn't really know like that. So she is reaching out to these women on social media, different ways. She's reaching out to them and starting whole conversations with these women who she really doesn't know like that. She knows them through Tara. And she's giving them a long list of reasons why she shouldn't be getting married and why the guy is better than her. I mean, it's just really ugly. And she even reached out to the guy and basically said that she was a 304, a garden tool, and just, you know, being a horrible backstabbing friend. And what she's now doing is she is trying to rally up the troops, so to speak, so that she can build allies. And this is something that women do that often goes undiscussed. I actually conduct a training for nonprofit organizations that work primarily with girls, organizations like Girls Inc. and so forth, on relational aggression in female group friendships, so that workers can recognize certain things that are happening in the classroom, certain things that might be happening right under their nose. They might be running a group, running a session for their teenage and tween girls, and they don't realize that there were being aggressive moves right underneath their nose because it is under the radar. And so one of the things that girls and women will do, particularly when they are targeting one particular person who is the object of their jealousy, the object of their resentment, is that they will try to befriend that person's friends behind their back, feed them false information, feed them negative information, so that they can begin to isolate that one person and they don't have a support system, and they can build allies so that they can see, nobody likes you. Everybody hates you. They're trying to find reasons to justify their jealousy rather than admitting to being hateful, rather than admitting to gossiping. Well, I'm just saying it's true. But the thing is, if Tara's friend always felt that way. Why are you going behind Tara's back? Why aren't you having a conversation with Tara? See, people will justify the worst kind of behavior because they don't want to be accountable. It allows them to evade accountability. And this is something that traumatizes a lot of women. These are experiences that they've had in high school and college, and they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, still affected by it today. And I think we don't address it enough. And so when it happens, you were led to believe oftentimes, if you are the recipient of relational aggression, female relational aggression, where the group is using the tactic of exclusion, isolation, and gossip to put you in your place, to knock you down a peg, to shame you and humiliate you, oftentimes you will be told that you are overreacting, that you are making a mountain out of a molehill, because again, the behavior is very subtle, right? The behavior is very subtle, especially girls and women who are highly skilled at relational aggression. And when you are using relational aggression, there's not the same thing as overt aggression where it is obvious, like calling somebody out of their name in front of them in a loud, aggressive way, because the whole point is to evade responsibility. It is to be as mean as possible to the target of your hate, but creating plausible deniability. That's it. You want to be as mean and cruel as possible, but you want to get away with being mean and cruel. So if you're calling someone out of their name out loud in front of people, people can see that. But if you are being nice, nasty, giving a little dig, having an inside joke, doing things to exclude, and it could be something as similar as, and I'll never forget, I was working with this was many years ago, but I was doing work at a girls group home, and I was running weekly life skill sessions. And I had noticed in one of our sessions that all of the girls wore their pajama bottoms except for one girl. And it's something that's very subtle, and a lot of people would have missed it, right? And so I said, oh, so everybody's doing pajamas today? And so the look on the girl's face who did not have the pajamas on let me know that the ringleader purposefully excluded her. And so I said, I'm so glad that we're doing pajamas. I wish I would have had my pajamas. I said, if anybody else want to take a moment to change into their pajamas, we're going to take a 10-minute recess so that anyone who wants to change into their pajamas can. So the other girl put on her pajama bottoms and came back to the group. And so a lot of people would have missed that. And what the ringleader was trying to do was to say, you're not one of us. We're all wearing the same outfit, but you didn't get the memo. Oh my gosh, this thing is so mean. My heart bled for this young girl. So it was a way to be able, they were about maybe 16, 17. It was a way for the ringleader to be able to say, we are all a part of the team. We are all part of the group. We all belong, but you are not one of us. And it was done deliberate. They all plan to wear their pajama bottoms. And it seems like it's such a small thing, but it is not about the pajama bottoms. It is about the tactic of isolation and exclusion. And so that is a very common tactic that women will do. Women will do that when they deem another woman as a threat. This girl was a very attractive girl, and the ringleader had an issue. And so I'm not going to get into all the details, but I say all that to say that women can be a piece of work. And when a woman has it out for you, and I'm talking about relationships between women, right? So I'm not saying this doesn't happen with men as well, but specifically in this video, Tara, not her real name, is a woman. So we're looking at it from the perspective of that lens. And when I teach on relational aggression, that's very different than direct overt aggression, where two men don't like each other and they're overt about it. Yo, I don't like you. I can't stand you. They might fight. They might cuss each other out. They may avoid each other. But it is much more direct. There are exceptions, right? There are exceptions. So if someone doesn't like their boss, they're not probably going to tell their boss that they can't stand their boss because they need their job. So with everything, there are exceptions. I'm speaking generally. And so what Tara is dealing with is a form of relational aggression. And so this so-called friend, let's give her a name too. We'll call her, I don't know. What do we want to call her? We'll call her Lisa. So Lisa is befriending all of Tara's friends, right? And slandering Tara, not only to her friends, but to her fiance, and causing all kind of division among the friend group. And she's the new person in the group, right? Tara's friend is the so-called friend, is the new person. She doesn't know the women like this. And she has worked her way to each friend, slandering Tara because of the resentment, of the jealousy. And so I want you to understand that if you are on the receiving end of this, that is a traumatizing experience. And of course, we don't want to stay there. We want to, grow from the things that we go through. And we never want to give anyone the power to totally steal our joy. But at the same time, I don't want to minimize the impact. That is a painful thing to go through. And so understand that you may find yourself in situations where you have someone who you consider a friend. It could be a family member, and they will befriend your friends behind your back. That's the key, behind your back. Because if it's straight up and they're like, hey, I want to get to know Sally too, or Cindy too, or what's Cindy's number? See, that's straight up. There's nothing deceptive and underhanded. So the issue is not befriending your friends. I want to be very clear, right? That is not the issue. Clear communication leads to clear understanding. The issue is the underhandedness of it. It is the way you go about it, the underhandedness, the slander. That is the issue. So you can make friends with whoever you want to make friends with. But why are you doing it on the low? Why are you hiding it? Why are you feeding Tara's friends negative information, but yet you call yourself her sister? Make it make sense. And so she's trying to build allies to justify her jealousy. Now, we understand when someone befriends people that you would consider an enemy, people that don't like you. A lot of times that's very clear. Like, why would she want to be friends with girls that she knows can't stand me, women that she knows can't stand me? Because she wants to make you uncomfortable and she wants to make you feel isolated. But a tactic that is even more underhanded than that, because once you see someone befriending your enemy, you already know what it is. But it's when they befriend your friend behind your back for the sole purpose of building allies to ruin your reputation, justify their jealousy, and throw mud on your name. Because this is your support circle. The difference with an enemy is you already know you don't like each other. So you're not relying on your enemy for support. But in your friendship circle, these are the people who you would have shared secrets with. So maybe they're also prying for information. These are people who have seen you at your up and have seen you at your down. And so this is a very disheartening thing to go through. And it's important not to make light of it. And so I want to give you a scripture, and it's Proverbs 16:2, and it really speaks to Tara's so-called friend, right? And it says, all the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit. And so when a person is befriending your friends behind your back for the sole purpose of justifying their jealousy, ruining your reputation, isolating you, and using other forms of female relational aggression, oftentimes, because they want to evade accountability and they want to project their negative emotions on you, they will act like you are blowing things out of proportion. And again, it's not the fact that they've become friends. It's the fact of, why was it done behind my back? Like, you see me all the time. You could have just asked me for so-and-so's number. You could have mentioned it. We saw each other 4 times. Why didn't you mention in conversation that y'all went out 3 times? Like, why would you not mention that? You don't owe me that explanation. So this is not an issue of owing me. But it does look suspect. So now I got to watch you. And if I got to watch you, I don't need to be around you. If I got to watch you, I don't need to be around you. If it even comes to question that there's a possibility that you are a snake, I don't need to put myself in the vicinity of a snake. Because the only time a snake sheds its skin is to become an even bigger snake. And so, knowing that, I got to be mindful, because you are showing me the fruit of deception. And so what does the Bible say in terms of how we know people? You can finish the scripture because you always hear me say this scripture. And that is, we know them by their fruits. Matthew 7:16. You shall know them by their fruits. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? So Tara's so-called friend, I think we call her Lisa. So Lisa's showing Tara the fruit of deception, the fruit of slander, the fruit of isolation and exclusion, the fruit of being sneaky. And so you know people by their fruits. And so this is not a friendship that is feeding you. Then the scripture goes on to say in Matthew 7:16, the men gather grapes from thorn bushes. So a thorn bush will prick you. You cannot gather a grape from a thorn bush. The only thing a thorn bush can produce is thorns. And so when we have friends, or so-called friends, could be family, who are acting like thorns in our life, trying to prick at your reputation, trying to prick at your joy, trying to prick at your support system, trying to prick at everything that's valuable and important to you, that's a problem. That's not a grape. Because a friend who's a grape can feed you. You can eat grapes, you can make grape jelly, you can make a grape jelly sandwich, you can drink some grape juice, but you cannot eat a thorn. Then it goes on to say, or gather figs from thistles. You can't eat a thistle. If you do, you're going to choke on it. But you can eat figs. They got fig Newton cookies. You can eat the fig fruit. And so when we are beginning to realize that we have close ties with someone who is pricking us and choking us rather than feeding us, fueling us, and fortifying us, it is time to reevaluate that relationship. It is time to reevaluate that relationship. I will go even further. I'm being nice about it. It's really time to totally come out from among that person. It's time to totally come out from among them. So you got to decide what's best for you. But when you have a friend who is befriending your friends behind your back for the sole purpose, I want to be clear about the intent. So we're talking about the intent, not the fact that they're befriending people that you know and they want to get to know your friends. That is not the issue. So if someone comes and focuses on that and takes the conversation in another direction, we are blocking and deleting you so we can stay on task. So when someone is trying to befriend your friends for the sole purpose of wanting to isolate you, exclude you, ruin your reputation, throw mud on your name, and justify their jealousy. Well, she's really not that pretty. I don't know why he's marrying her. I mean, like, why are you not happy for her? This is your friend. Why are you not happy for her? Why can't you rejoice when she rejoices? That's a problem. And so be careful when you have friends who want to befriend people that you know for the sole purpose of ruining your reputation, building allies in their jealousy so that they could justify. Because see, when one person says something negative, it's easy to brush it off. But when they can twist other people against you, and it's a group of them, then in their mind's eye, it's justifiable. Oh, you feel that way too? I don't know why he picked her. I mean, I was with her and I'm prettier than her. I mean, all kind of crazy conversations that people will use to justify their jealousy. And then you got to ask yourself, if they could turn against you and be twisted against you so easily, then the beauty of it being exposed is now you know where it stands. I know it hurts, but at least you know where you stand with everyone. You know where you stand. And when you know where you stand, you can choose to move in a new direction. When you know where you stand, you can choose to move in a new direction. When you know where you stand, you can choose to move in a new direction. And the new direction might be leaving the whole lot of them behind. So I hope you found this helpful for those of you who are in similar situations like Tara. Tara, not her real name again. Keep your head up. Congratulations on your upcoming wedding. Keep your head up. Celebrate your new life that you're going to be building with your soon-to-be husband. Do the things that bring you joy. Walk in purpose. And don't let the haters, the dream slayers, the naysayers, and the perpetrators bring you down. So with that being said, I want to tell you about a couple of things. Are you part of the Cassandra Mack channel here on YouTube? Are you a member? If not, what are you waiting for? If you are a member at the second tier or higher, there are lots of benefits. So there are benefits with every level. But at the second tier or higher, you can be part of my Wednesday Wellness Club. That is where we focus on mental fitness and mental resilience and self-care through a biblical lens, emotional self-care, mental fitness, beyond mental health, mental fitness, mental resilience through a biblical lens. And our club meets the first and third Wednesday of every month. We meet by telephone conference call. And the information is posted in the members only section, and you will see it if you are a tier 2 member. Our next Wednesday wellness meetup by conference call. So it happens by conference call. You dial into a conference call number. Is happening on Wednesday, August 2nd, and I've got a juicy topic for you for your mental fitness. And we're going to be looking at, and we're going to be doing this in 2 parts, how to see beyond the fake masks that people wear. And this will serve you well in business, in life, at the job, honey, even in the church. You know, how do you begin to see beyond the mask that people want you to see when they have ulterior motives, a different agenda? They're using you as a stepping stone. How can you begin to decipher and discern some of that? So we're going to be talking about that August 2nd in the Wednesday Wellness Club, and how to put self-care tools in place relative to that topic. You don't want to miss it, because this is a skill you can use for life, and it's cheaper than therapy being part of the Wednesday Wellness Club, which is an automatic feature of being a member of the Cassandra Mack YouTube channel at the second tier or higher. Second thing that I would recommend you to do for anyone who might be just, dealing with, like, maybe you went through a similar situation and you're kind of like in a season where you are what I call in a season of solitude. You're kind of moving by yourself right now because some of your friendships have fizzled out. You're growing. God is growing you. You're in a new season of your life. Pick up the book, Speaking Life into Your I Am, because that book is going to give you confidence to know who you are in God and to know who you're not. A lot of people want to assign false labels to us. Some of you have had toxic things spoken over your life when you were a child, when you were in middle school, high school, and you need to unspeak those things by confessing and affirming and reaffirming who you are in God. And so pick up the book, Speaking Life into Your I Am. That book takes 25 scriptures straight from the Bible that speak to our identity as children of the Most High God. Then I walk you through each of those scriptures, why it's important to affirm the scripture, how to affirm the scripture, and how to show up as that person. So, for example, when we say the scripture, I am the head and not the tail, what does it mean when you show up for life from a place of headship, regardless of where you reside on your organizational company chart? Whether you are the receptionist or the vice president of marketing, how do you show up for headship no matter who you are? And so it walks you through 25 of biblical scriptures and really helps you to cement your identity, because when we got to stay on alone for a season, that's a hard place. I've been there. I have been there. A lot of the situations that I share with you don't just come from my professional experience as a social worker, a trainer, the many hats I wear, but also come from personal experience. I have been in the situation where I had a so-called friend befriend my friends behind my back to build allies to justify their jealousy. So this is not something that doesn't happen, but it doesn't get talked about, especially in ministry circles. We don't talk about it. And then when it happens, we're left feeling isolated, unsure of what to do. And so now that you know what's going on, you can make a decision to decide, am I going to reevaluate this relationship? Am I going to put it in a different lane? Or am I going to totally come out from among this one individual? Or am I going to come out from among the whole lot of them? So you have options. You are not left without any options. You have options. And when you can't come out from someone physically because the situation just doesn't allow for it at this point in your life, doesn't mean it will never change in the future, then you come out from among them mentally and emotionally. So with that being said, have a blessed day and do your best. Let's all do our best to be a blessing in the spaces and places that God places us in. Take care.